Well, given the nature of the two league games between the two clubs, we wondered how many highlights we would have to show you at the end of this second semi-final. There are bags of them. That perhaps wasn't one of them. Didier Drogba was just getting ready.
Well, it was a fairly poor sight-up. It's a foul in the build-up. Pretty awful technique there, but that was the worst thing he did. And after that, he was excellent.
Kyle Walker caught hesitating by Kalou. And Juan Mata, at this stage, the game didn't have many clear-cut openings, but that was one of them.
Chelsea didn't really counter-attack all day. This is one of the rare opportunities. It only comes from the two players, from a mistake by Walker as well. Mata probably should do better as the ball comes in. It's a good ball that gets played to him. Maybe should do better with his touch. But Spurs, at the time, looked the better counter-attacking side.
This is Emmanuel Adebayor. John Terry, who was trying initially to deal with the cross, saw the danger after Van der Vaart's second header beat Cech, and he knocked it off the line.
Yes, it was the first of a few clearances off the line that were slightly better talking points. Decent contact, gets himself in a good position like all defenders, good experience. Petr Cech delighted to get him out of trouble.
Well, this could have been a freakish goal. Van der Vaart looking for Adebayor with a pass. As the ball carrying on and striking the post.
Adebayor's movement's very good, coming across. I think he should make some sort of contact. I think he should get to that himself. Cech, a horrible situation, can't dive for the first one in case he does get the touch, and delighted to see it hit the upright.
Played forward by Lampard, who knows all about Drogba, and he isolated Gallas, ex-Chelsea, and slammed it past Kudicini, ex-Chelsea.
He gave Gallas an absolutely torrid afternoon. But the one thing Gallas does, he doesn't allow him to roll him inside. Once he takes that touch, he's quite happy. Once he takes that touch, he's not quite so happy.
Right at the start of the second half, Drogba involved, but it was Mata's shot, and Kudicini made a splendid save.
He does really well because he's expecting Drogba, and he moves his feet. Look how quick he moves his feet, gets a stride in, and then gets a really strong left hand on the...
More of an outswinger from Lampard this time. David Luiz, and Kudicini's there again. Can they force it in? Oh, they're claiming, Mata's claiming it's a goal, and it's been given.
It's a foul, this. It's a foul. John Terry, watch John Terry in the replays. Comes flying in. Has to be a foul.
Wembley controversy here. Van der Vaart leads the protests. Walker's there. Spurs want Martin Atkinson to talk to Mick McDonough.
Well, I think they're arguing maybe about the ball being crossing the line, whether it did cross the line. Martin Atkinson doesn't want anything to do with it. I mean, they obviously have the headsets. But the ball's up in the air. Watch Terry. That's a foul. And that's just a foul. And the ball, well, did the ball go anywhere near crossing the line?
And Terry was trying to force it in. Mata's appealing. Well, the old stadium saw plenty of controversy. I think we've had something here that's going to be replayed over and over again.
Well, the referee's assistant can't make a decision on whether this ball is over the line. It's impossible to do. And Martin Atkinson, not giving the John Terry challenge as a foul, gives himself a problem now because he's embroiled in this controversy. He wouldn't have seen that either. We've looked at it in replay, have no idea if that ball's crossed the line at all.
It is Tottenham 0, Chelsea 2. And the second goal that they nearly conceded a couple of minutes earlier, right at the start of the second. But Chelsea are playing with hunger and appetite as well. They want to really make this their semi-final. Drogba taking on Walker. He's got the cross in, that's Sokoto, and we head it up in the air. Gallas is there, be collected by Modric. It's a well-crafted pass for Parker. Through the middle for Adebayor. Can he go round the goalkeeper? He goes down. It's a tap-in for Gareth Bale. Martin Atkinson could give the goal. And Tottenham respond in the grand manner. What's he going to do here? The referee, is he just sorting out the stricken Chelsea player? There was certainly a risk of a red card, but the goal has overruled that. The goal-scoring opportunity wasn't denied.
It wasn't denied, but if you're Spurs, do you take a gamble on the goalkeeper sent off and then having the penalty? This looks like a serious injury, by the way. So don't want to be too, but it's a great goal. It's a lovely ball, threaded, poor defensive play from Chelsea. The two centre-halves are wide open. That was going to be a sending off for sure. Great ball from Parker. Bale following up, sticks the ball in.
Yes, it was David Luiz who was stricken really in the chase, pulled up lame. And you could say, fortunately for Petr Cech, the ball rolled to Gareth Bale, who rolled it into the net.
Yeah, he's not been in the game very much, Bale. What a fantastic match we have now. Great for the game, really great for the game. Chelsea are going to have to make this change. It's going to have to be a structured job, I imagine.
No, they're still looking pretty grim about the goal that is now the difference between the two sides. Roberto Di Matteo's got some thinking to do. And of course this is not just about this semi-final for David Luiz, it's the Champions League semi-final as well. Reacting as if it's a hamstring.
Yeah, I saw him indicate when he was lying that straight away it said something had pulled or torn. Adebayor did really well, again used his body well. Bale has the tapping.
Well, they've shown big hearts here, Tottenham Hotspur. It's their fans that you can hear. As David Luiz is put on this stretcher. Well, there are more twists and turns to come, I can tell you.
Yeah, they needed that from a belief point of view. They needed the confidence that they could score a goal, Spurs, because they'd had a decent reaction, but I never really felt they believed they could create a goal. And it's a poor goal from Chelsea, really poor. The two centre-halves, John Terry, he shouldn't allow that gap to be between himself and Luiz. It shouldn't be there. We know about Luiz, we know some people think he's flaky, and I've seen enough indication to think that way myself. Obviously, not nice to talk about that side of the game when he's getting carried off here. But they aren't rock solid, and that's just a straight ball between his centre-halves, not acceptable.
Well, Gary Cahill knows plenty about Wembley from his time as an England player. Actually scored at the end that he's now defending in England's last match against the Netherlands, end of February. Well, it is certainly game on now. Lampard. Cole crossing early, met by Gallas, but he's only stabbed it as far as Kalou. For Drogba, is he in here? It's a corner.
Weak from Gallas again, poor outside of the box, it's his mistake. King does well, gets himself across, reads the play, strong in the challenge. There is probably a reason why Drogba spent most of the time in that left channel. Ledley King's just demonstrating why.
So he is one of those centre-backs who has an eye for goal. He's a very good all-round footballer, Gary Cahill.
He's excellent, he's got good technique. Just slices this one slightly. Can't get over the ball. He's got good technique. First saw him as a young player playing for Aston Villa reserves. And then I thought he was one for the future. Certainly he's gone on to be very good.
Well, there's no offside here. Chelsea wanted it. Here's Adebayor. Bale. Adebayor again. Now Modric. Walker did start off as a striker, as a young man. He's still young now, but he's a teenager at Sheffield United. He's got to use his pace to get back. Mata plays it early. Ramirez, no surprise that he's on the run. Needs a bit of technique here. Well, it's a pass into an area that Chelsea can fill first with Drogba. You do feel we're at a stage where either team could score. Game has opened up so much. Drogba and Kalou. Ramirez comes back to Kalou. Can't get a shot away or a pass away. Walker plays it away to Lennon. Can't take your eyes off the second FA Cup semi-final. 20 minutes to go if it's going to be settled in 90. Tottenham 1, Chelsea 2.
Looks like a few tired bodies out there as well. All of a sudden, good pace of game that's been played at. 70 minutes gone by, a few with the hands on the knees. That'll only be good for the game as well.
Mata. Cole. Lampard. For Drogba. Spurs just about stand firm. Terry's got to get back on his feet because Tottenham sensing another possibility to break here with the pace of Bale, who knows he's got the beating of Basingwa. He gets his cross in splendidly on the sprint. And within seconds, Spurs are up the other end and they've got a corner.
Cahill does well, but Basingwa must be terrified when he sees Bale at full tilt like that.
Van der Vaart will take the corner. It's met by Drogba. Defender, striker, cheerleader, organiser. Strong man physically, strong man mentally. Chelsea will need all that strength from him and the others now. Van der Vaart, it's almost forced in by Ledley King. It's another corner. Tottenham smelling blood here. In the end, it's Basingwa to hoist it away. The referees have stopped it. Drogba's down.
I think he's saying he's fine. Does so well because he just attacks the ball, makes sure he's the first point of contact as the ball gets whipped in. Great for the centre halves. You've got a centre forward who wants to take that sort of responsibility. It's just his landing that's awkward here. Yeah, Cope fine with that.
Oh, Drogba has a reputation of over-egging the pudding in these situations. That's why the Tottenham fans are having a go at him. I think if he just got up a bit quicker, the physio wouldn't have come on and Drogba could have stayed on. Sometimes players around the stricken player should be checking and say, do we want him on? Are you okay? It's not going to matter too much, but had it been another corner, for example, Drogba wouldn't have been there to try and head it in.
No, and if they weren't 2-1 ahead, he probably wouldn't have been either.
Oh, Jermaine Defoe, who lives and breathes scoring goals. He's a good man for Tottenham. Very risky indeed. And Ramirez trying a difficult volley. Modric. Tidy feet, tidy pass. Bale. Defoe in the middle, Lennon's there as well. And Cahill's done well to dispossess the Welshman.
Great defending. Really, really good defending. He was left isolated. You don't like that as a centre half. You have someone, particularly with Bale's strength and pace, running at you, but he did really well, Cahill.
Chelsea believe the way to get through to the final is to keep on the front foot. They don't feel quite as secure defensively. Now they have been punctured by the Bale goal. And they have looked dangerous when they've attacked. They're doing that at 2-0 and at 2-1, and here's Ramirez! That could be that! Being on the front foot was the right policy. A third Chelsea goal, and absolutely no doubt about this one.
Ikoto needs to track the runner better. King, he looks like he's struggling a little bit. There's a big hole that he ran into, Ramirez, and we know he likes to run, but it's a great finish as well. Shows really good composure at the end. Ikoto's wide with it. Must be a hint of offside. No, it's the right back gets pushed right in. I did think he was beyond the centre-backs, and he certainly was. But it's, as you often see, the player on the far side of the pitch ends up playing a player onside. This time it's Walker. It's a great finish. Ball sits up beautifully just to get a bit of a foot underneath it. Surely Chelsea home and dry.
Well, he might think so. Well, Ramirez, another member of the new Chelsea, just recently signed a 5-year extension to his terms with the club. Here's Asuakoto. Tottenham need to hit back straight away, and Masingwa would have been very risky to try and just knock it back for Czech to clear, particularly on the goalkeeper's right foot, which is weaker side. Anyway, it's a corner. Collected here by Lennon for Tottenham. Drogba prepared to take 2 touches in his own penalty area. The last time they did face each other in the FA Cup, it ended with a replay win for Chelsea at Tottenham, but the game at Stamford Bridge did finish 3. No replays when you get to the semi-final stage these days. That's been the case for several years now, since that famous Ryan Giggs goal at Villa Park for Manchester United against Arsenal. Here's Modric. Oh, and Martin Atkinson, whether he actually saw that, there was Drogba turns, Mata's offside if he plays it. Drogba realises that.
He's beaten Gallas up today.
Yeah, and Gallas is booked.
He really has dominated him physically, isolated him very early on, got his goal from doing it. He's now got him booked. Is this handball? Don't think it is even. And it hits the point of the shoulder. Never getting those. Certainly not when the arm's not even remotely outstretched, and it's, I think your shoulder, obviously you can use your shoulder as well, so very, very harsh. He's had a tough day, Gallas.
Joe Jordan with Harry Redknapp. Joe played in a FA Cup final in his Manchester United days. Lampard shot. Oh my goodness! Talk about icing the cake. Frank Lampard produces an extraordinary free kick. And when we expected a tight and tense semi-final decided by the odd goal maybe, Chelsea lead by 4 goals to 1.
Well, he lines up, and it's one you expect him to be thinking, I'll put it about 20 rows back and buy myself a bit of time. Start your Barcelona preparations now, Chelsea, because you are in the FA Cup final. This ball moves an awful lot, but Cudicini shouldn't be getting beat from here when he starts that side of the goal.
Did it come off Scott Parker on the end of the wall? Certainly played tricks on Carlo Cudicini.
Substitution for Chelsea. Coming off the field, number 7.
And Frank Lampard, the nephew of the Spurs manager. As I said, family ties forgotten out on the Wembley pitch. Well, I suppose they will say in the end, Chelsea, well, we got enough goals to show we deserved to win the game, that contentious one, but that came at such a crucial time, so early in the second half, to make it 2-0.
You still have to get decisions right. You can't say that. It just doesn't work like that. The tempo of the game gets changed. Spurs had to open themselves up to attack. It changed the whole dimension of the game completely.
But is going to go off via the slow route. Yes, it was Everton 4, Tottenham 1 at Ellen Road. This is Chelsea 4, Tottenham 1 at the new Wembley.
Substitution for Chelsea. Coming off the field, number 11, Didier Drogba.
Tantalising for Cudicini. Absolutely terrific for Frank Lampard. Well, Drogba has been the real Drogba, the Wembley Drogba, the Drogba perhaps of bygone times we don't see so often these days. But when he is at it, Chelsea certainly are. He's the strong voice in the dressing room. Fernando Torres could do with a dose or two of Drogba's confidence.
Well, he's earned the right to be like that, Drogba, hasn't he? Because he's been a sensational player here. Good individual, great talent.
Here's Mikel for Chelsea. Blue wasn't the colour yesterday, but according to the Chelsea song, it is very much so today. And on, it's kept in by Malouda. Oh, and he was trying to put it onto Torres' head. He could have just rolled it back for Kalou.
Look at Gallas. Watch Gallas's reaction here. Look at Gallas there now. That is so poor. That really is poor. It's poor execution in the end, but attitude-wise, very, very disappointing from Gallas.
It's going to be a big helping of added time. 5 minutes we're hearing, which give Chelsea another route towards goal number 5.
Neither side want 5 minutes of extra time. They'll be quite happy to call it quits right now.
Interesting to cancel Frank Lampard's views on goal line technology after what happened to him when an England shirt in the World Cup and the ball was significantly further towards the net than it was. Chelsea got their second here, but here's some strength from Adebayor, and it's Cahill. As he was fouled by Adebayor, I think it's going to be a free kick against and a booking for the Spurs striker.
It's actually a very poor challenge, a real lunging one. Cahill kicking through. Doesn't really catch him full force.
It could have been a really nasty one, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the foot's high. He knows what he's doing there.
Well, from the moment, really, Fabio Capello left, to be fair to Harry Redknapp, the next game for Tottenham, they beat Newcastle 5-0. But there are all sorts of factors, as you mentioned earlier, Matt. Certainly the thought that the manager might be leaving for England, but you know, there's been no approach from the FA yet, and the meeting at the National Stadium of its magnitude is certainly not what Harry would have wanted for the obvious club reasons, but for the England situation as well. But he is still the leading contender. Mata, another late Tottenham challenge, and don't need to go out with the wrong kind of fight here. Mikel Parker wants to really get involved, which fortunately is being stopped, and John Terry is former captain when they were together at Chelsea, and his recent England cap. Of course, Parker was the last England captain here. What's Martin Atkinson going to make of this?
Book him and end him the game. I think it's the best thing to do.
I'm certainly going to book him. Mikel, is he going to escape his part in it? I doubt it. Little kick out at the end. It set Parker's blood boiling.
Yeah, because Parker's actually off to him a hand to pick him up as well.
Coming off the field, number 8, Scott Parker.
Well, the metaphorical bucket of cold water on Scott Parker is being substituted.
Oh, no one's tried harder than him today. Set up the goal, made numerous tackles, did a really good pat on the head from Harry, as he should do. Gives his all every game.
Sandro comes on for the last knockings. Here's Mata, and it's a great chance for 5, and 5 it is for Florent Malouda to rub further salt in Tottenham's wounds. I can't really believe it down in the Chelsea dugout, but Roberto Di Matteo has brought something. He's certainly brought some credentials to getting the job full-time.
Goal scorer for Chelsea, number 15,
A fantastic 5-goal showing in the end. And Harry Redknapp's on the wrong end of it.
Well, once again, straight balls beyond the centre halves. I mean, they've been totally undone. It's harsh on Spurs. They've given up the last 10 minutes. Harsh on Harry, harsh on his team. Not a reflection on their season. Good finish from Malouda. Ball again just sits up nicely. Got to feel a bit for Kudicini. His day couldn't really have been much worse.
Today's Budweiser man of the match is Chelsea number 11, Didier Drogba.
Here's Bale. A very sound choice from the sponsors for the man of the match here, Didier Drogba, who set the tone.
Well, he can play up front and he occupies a back four on his own, and that gives so much scope for the rest of the team to then go and play, and it's been demonstrated perfectly here today at Wembley.
Well, Tottenham just want to get off, get in the bus, get home. And he's seen most things in his long and distinguished managerial career, but this will be one of the worst days. And it did so much hinge on a controversial second Chelsea goal. It seemed a stroke of big fortune for Roberto Di Matteo and his men. Chelsea's love affair with Wembley continues. The manager, who was a star player for Chelsea at the old Wembley, guides them to the FA Cup final. It is Chelsea's 4th FA Cup final in 6 seasons. And on the day they were scheduled to play Liverpool at Anfield, they will instead face them here, with the world watching on May the 5th.